Lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo, National Petroleum Authority, NPA CEO. Also, one of the NDC, one of the powerful legal members no bako. Wabin papa. Na one lawyer Appiah Danquah, and so I think so UP and NPP communicator bako. NPP professionals and NPP professors and bako. Can say TV terry or more clash and Lina Efa Galamsey issues and now how NDC Abino put two things together to combat this canker. And also I feel say na couldn't hire shishi because now kofu nyisi come from to pine ku baby enkodi Christmas. But the name no say Bibia Tedin a dintia becase petrol boaba form, lorry fares for aba form, chese, enema boaba form, inti a mancro for any hope, so be too kind, I could do Christmas on wherever they want to, either Oko Bruchi Krana, Ubitiako, because examine say dollar rate any human yamano at me stabilize it, inti ama to say free of movement. Chese bebia ye cool also unti so bia kasa ni see ye ko di bronyo sandu na nenemu because people have kwacha on them, people have l'argent French ni bekan l'argent kudi l'argent ko fo sika wo mo itomudi ko di bronya yenti how lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo any lawyer Appiah Danquah NGO etimi apobu disgrace MPP communicator on TV3 we Roland Walker show no so you come back to us.
Make it look like okay, NDC lost by this in 2016, and so if NPP lost by this, there is hope. I think we need to put that defeat in context. What Bawumia suffered, put it in context. First of all, it's important to make this point that there is no president or a presidential candidate who has lost an election but not winning even one constituency in 7 regions.
Oh no, I understand.
There is no such from 1990.
I do.
So the defeat that we saw in 2024 is unprecedented in several material respects. Put that in context. Oti, Volta, North, Upper East, Upper West, Bono, Ahafo, 7 regions of this country, the presidential candidate they presented could not win even one constituency.
No, that
tells you that over the period, the NPP has lost its national appeal in a very significant manner. And so it shouldn't be a platform to preach hope, to make it look like there is,
but you see,
that's all what can it happen.
What do you mean by preaching?
That's basically what Dr. to do today in a very academic manner. But I thought that you should put context to the conversation.
The context is what you have added.
Yes.
And nobody, once the statistics is there, nobody can challenge that statistics, isn't it?
Are you on a path of revival? Is that the messaging?
No, what I'm saying is that even if you are reviving, and the approach is not good, even if you are reviving and you don't even have hope for yourself, that means that the revival will not work. All right, so the most important thing is that as a Ghanaian, I want to see the NPP on its toe. Okay, as a Ghanaian, I want to see the NPP putting up that kind of responsible opposition, that kind of strong opposition. What I sought to address is that, look, it's a failure, it's a massive failure, unprecedented, as you said. All right, but then again, history is meant to guide.
Very well.
So whatever contest, whatever failure, the key thing is that, look, CPP went down. CPP couldn't come up to now. All right. But we don't want to see that this time around. We want to see that even if you've gone down,
no, but
you know the factors
that there's a UP.
Yes, UP yes. Is still warming itself. Into
they've warmed up, they're on the touchline.
They're on the touchline.
Yeah, they are ready for something.
But if you are on the touchline, please, you are warming up. You are warming up to get some kind of change. So the thing is that I want to see that, look, failure is not the end of the world. Failure is a beginning of a good thing to come. So it is just an encouragement and motivation, you know, that the NPP should encourage and motivate themselves and then come up strongly in 2028.
All right. Edudzi, the LI that has been repealed, the now repealed LI's 2462. Why is its repeal very important in the fight against illegal mining? And how do we put that in context? Because despite its repeal, you find that civil society in some respects, as well as some critics of the government, still criticize government for its fight against illegal mining.
Okay, so once again, good morning. I think that before I even zoom on this, let me use this opportunity to say something. And I want to quote President John Dramani Mahama. And this is what he says, quote, "I have directed the finance minister, Dr. Atuforsen, to release 1 billion Ghana cedis to settle debts owed to contractors since 2017 before Christmas. All contractors will be paid. The families of deceased contractors should also come forward to receive their money." That is compassionate John Mahama for you. That from 2017, contractors who have had to struggle with non-payment of the IPCs and others, he had given a firm instruction to the finance minister to cause to be released 1 billion Ghana cedis to settle this debt, to bring the hardship, what they have endured over the period, down. I want to thank the president for this compassionate move to lessen the burden on most contractors and the cascading effect on the other components of the economy, because these contractors will buy sand, they will buy iron rod, they will buy cement, even their bankers, they owe, so that, and they will pay their workers. So the impact for this Christmas is huge. Mr. President, thank you. That said, on the vast issue of the repeal of LI 2462, it's important that we appreciate what even brought that LI in the first place. One, there was no basis for the Environmental Protection Agency in 2022 to even present that LI in the first place.
There was no basis?
No basis. But the only reason why the president then caused that LI to be brought into parliament was the president wanted bauxite mine in the Tiwa forest. That was the long and short of it. Civil society groups had resisted the attempt to mine in the Tiwa forest, particularly bauxite. And so President Appiah Danquah got that LI to go through the 21 gestation period in parliament, and guess what? Also asked that they should put a clause in the LI that empowers him as president to grant permits for mining in forest reserve. That was the beginning of the problem. It was not necessary because, you see, the Minerals and Mining Act and all the subsequent amendments vested the grant, among others, in the minister. As president, if you were minded to even cause mining to be done in any place, all you needed to do was to route it through your Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. You don't need to give yourself that power in order, but it was a specific purpose, a Tiwa forest. Bauxite in the Tiwa Forest. Nothing more, nothing else. And that has become the problem that we've had to endure over the period. And that is why I have always maintained that any conversation on Galamsey should be put in context. It's always important. What is the body language of the president towards the fight? Immediately you begin to appreciate that you are good to go. President John Dramani Mahama has demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that I have no personal interest in any mining whatsoever. So the first thing he did was to cause that portion of the LI 2462 to be expunged first. And not only that, he has now caused the entire LI to be revoked. That for me is victory for our environment. It is victory for our forest reserve. Curiously, President Mahama, you know, has always co-chaired the SDGs. One of the critical issues under the SDG has to do with the respect and protection for the environment. In fact, the directive principles of state policy makes it abundantly clear an obligation on government to protect the environment. And so this repeal, it is not only victory for the environment, it is also about a president that listens. A president who is willing to put the interests of the state above that of his personal interests. A president who is willing to demonstrate that level of self-restraint. That for me is significant. That is what we've been lacking over the period. And today being the 21st day of December.
22nd.
Sorry, 22nd. I think the unique part is that I look back a year ago, 2 years ago, and I look at what is happening today, and the difference is like night and day. The manner in which President Mahama has demonstrated this level of restraint is something that environmental activists, among others, must singularly applaud him for this. You need courage, you need conviction, you need boldness as a president to take some of this initiative. Why not? As a president, he will be a happy person to say, I have the power to grant people the opportunity to go and mine in forest reserve. That's a nice one. Your friends and cronies may reach out to you. But he says, no, I don't need it. My minister for lands and natural resources, the constitution and the minerals and mining act provide the procedure to deal with this issue. Let it go through that. Why should I, as a president, go to that level? That level of restraint, I think, is extremely significant.
The LI in itself, during the period of its implementation, of what insignificance or significance or effect did it cause either the fight against illegal mining?
Remember that the evidence suggests that immediately upon the passage of that LI, over 1,000 leases were issued. And that is what made the Galamsey free for all. First of all, have the benefit of reading Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, which report was sent to the presidency in 2019. However, curiously, it is only when Professor Frimpong Boateng went to GBC, he had an interview with GBC, whereupon he labeled the presidency then as Galamsey headquarters. That infuriated government, the president, and immediately called the CID to investigate him. You remember that at the point the CID, his bail issue even became a topical issue at a point. I am saying that that particular LI 2462 opened the floodgates. It then gave the opportunity for our forest reserves to be invaded like the Vikings, a marauding group of people, buccaneers, just to take everything under the earth That is significantly different from what we are seeing. And let me say, under Minister Boa, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, with the help and support of NIMOS, with the support of my big sister, Dr. Kluche of EPA, as we speak,
Professor.
Professor N, GTEC sanctioned.
Yes.
What is significant is that at least we have recovered huge number of forest reserves that we lost to these environmental terrorists. That for me is significant in this conversation. Okay. Beyond government's own effort in fighting Galamsey, over 150 million Ghana cedis voted in the 2026 budget for NIMOS operation, among others. That for me is the way to go. And for a president to demonstrate this level of commitment is unmatched. Is there more room for improvement? Yes, of course. Okay. There is.
And that's why I pose a question to you, Dr. Kwekubwai. Would you say the LI in itself is a panacea or is very frontal in government fight against illegal mining?
Thank you very much. Let me say a good morning to my people, my constituency in Amasaman, and to my co-panelists.
Your constituency is Amasaman?
Amasaman constituency. And then to a good benefactor, upon Yabua, Yapon Ventures. It's been great to me. And then Ohine who hosted me in Jabin over the weekend.
You were in Jabin over the weekend?
Yes. So it's been good. And God bless them for all that they've been doing. Let me come back to the LI 2462. Well, it's one of the few LIs that I think brought a lot of uproar in the whole system.
You admit that?
Yes. For me, somebody who looks at Ghana in its entirety and then how we would help solve some of these pertinent issues that Galamsey brought about. I think, one, it exposed, this LI, when it was brought in, exposed almost about 89% of our forest reserve to mining, and then about 50 out of the 288 forest reserves were used, or people went into them and then they were mining in them, which to some of us, anything that would destroy the ecosystem, biodiversity and then all that is something I, for instance, will not.
Because I knew you as an environmentalist.
Yes, I will not condone on some of these practices, because if you look at the problems that Galamsey in itself is causing to Ghana, heavy metals in our waters, our river bodies, destruction of our, like I said, the ecosystem and all that, it doesn't augur well for us at all. So for me, this repeal means a lot. It's victory for the environment. I think it's one of the best things I've heard of in recent days, actually, if you ask me.
Really?
Okay, yes, because this is a thing that came to contradict Ghana's forest master plan, the development master plan from 2016 to, which was set for 2016 to 2036. And then it brought a lot of unnecessary shenanigans into all these mining and all that. Yes, can't make it sound as if scrapping this will be an end to Galamsey.
No, I said there's more room for improvement.
Exactly. That's where I'm coming to. I think, yes, it is a step in the right direction. It is going to give us that leverage where people will stop mining in all these 50 plus mining forest reserves, okay? They will stop mining there and it will be good for Ghana. Now, let us tackle the Galamsey head on. understand that government through 9 months is moving in, trying to do the best that they can to safeguard our environments and all that. But I pray that the fight will not be just rhetorics, that we will just say it as it is. If you may, people are saying it, but it is not what is happening.
What do you make of the interventions that have been made, i.e. being the national strategy, making sure there's the repeal of the LI 2462 and subsequently the deployment of the task force in itself, and then empowering the various MMDCEs who are the heads of the security committee, so to speak, committees of the various MMDAs, or the various security council, so to speak.
The DICEG or whatever.
What do you think of that strategy, where we have various facets of that being implemented or deployed at the same time to clamp down, compared to where we are or were a year ago?
Let me say, like I said earlier on, it is a step in the right direction. All the strategies that are being deployed and all that are good. But what I always want to say or talk about is that some of these MCs, in recent times you heard of what happened in Kentinke's backyard in Hwidim, where 9 months arrested people, and then somebody went there and said, I'm the MP, and then have been sent by this person to let the people go and all that. This is something that is a presidency.
The avoidance of doubt, the NDC MP did not intervene to say that people should go. I mean, he couldn't have taken a mosaic, view and create the impression that he came there as Moses to say, let my people go. It wasn't the case. I mean, please, just
that was what we had. Okay, I'm rather helping you. See, listen. Listen.
Kind of address help.
Government or presidency will come up with policies, would want it implemented, would want to see that whatever that they have come up with, the modus operandi must be followed to the latter. But then along the line, if you are not careful, there will be people who can truncate whatever that you want to do. And so if they have set up all these things, I pray that government will have a team that will supervise and will ensure that some of these things that they have brought will be followed to the latter, and make sure that it is implemented.
Okay, so my question to you, I'll rephrase. I'm saying that these strategies, whether it's as part of the holistic one deployed, how would you say has brought the issue to a very malleable level, or maybe brittle level, so to speak? Reduced level, compared to what we saw by the beginning of the year?
It's been good. Let me just admittedly, it's been good, because I think when I was in Konongo yesterday,
campaigning.
Yes, I spoke to 1 or 2 people, and then they said that things have come down.
The roadside mining has stopped.
Yes. And then all that. So at least compared to the beginning of the year, it's been good, and that is why I'm urging government to continue in the pursuit or the fight to clamp down on Galamsey. It can be done. It is not something that we can't achieve as a country. We can do that. Okay. So they should continue on this tangent, and then let us not play politics with it.
Okay.
Yeah. That is one thing that I want to sound a few cautionary through my.
My thought Galamsey was frame a political issue.
Okay.
That's my thinking.
Appiah Danquah, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You are doing good. What do you see Ken is now? Ken, also where?
This morning is in the Asante Achim block.
So let the whole Ghana know that contrary to. Let the whole Ghana know. You see, we need to straight forward.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning to the viewers.
So that we can frame it.
You see, let the whole Ghana know that contrary to what we've been told.
So we can frame him well.
Contrary to what we've been told, the NPP, is on this.
Lawyer Appiah Danquah of United Party.
Yes, MP is on this.
What's your assessment so far? We have the airline repeal. 9 months is working, but then we still have a number of areas that are inundated.
Yeah, so let me wish another viewers good morning. Let me wish my brother Edudzi good morning, my NPP brother Dog good morning, and Dr. Tutubahin I also BB.
What about
this is not propaganda. Good morning. You see, I think you know that they see the whole issue about Galamsey vexed me. The whole issue about Galamsey, for me, tells me about how our politics, democracy since '92, largely has not been done in the interest of the people, but has been pushed in the interest of the parochial interest, largely of the politicians. You can never do justice to this LI issue without giving a historical perspective to this. And having said that, let me, even though they delayed, because I felt that one of the first issues that ought to have been done was a repeal of this LI. But having said that, it's better late than never. And when you do a comparative analysis, at least you see one president who, upon minimal pressure, listens, and that president who, upon massive because the kind of pressure we give President Mahama is about 10% of the pressure we gave Nanado. We gave Nanado massive pressure, and this LI was still there. You understand? Also, let us understand that before the LI came, Galamsey was a major issue. The LI came in 2022. Prior to 2022, Galamsey was so big an issue that Nanado in 2017 actually put his presidency on the line.
It was a sham.
Yes, he actually so it's not as if it was the LI that brought Galamsey. Galamsey was already a massive problem that we're facing. Now, also we need to understand that even prior to the president arrogating powers to himself to allow mining in forest reserves, increasing the existential threat that all of us were faced with as a result of his decision to sleep on his job.
Sleep on his job?
He slept on his job. You see, in 2019, per the Professor Frimpong's report, he said the president asked his minister, do not allow mining in forest reserves. That's what Professor Frimpong's report told us. In spite of that, Galamsey entered into our forest reserves, raped our forest reserves.
It was a jamboree.
Did not care the impact of that rape on us. And the president did nothing. NOTHING, nothing. Then some few years after this LI was passed, so was it a case that when the president was instructing his minister, ban or do not allow mining in forest reserves, and the fact that the minister haven't disobeyed the clear words, clear instructions of the president, was it the case that really the president's intention at that time was to allow mining in forest reserve, but like he always does, let me do something to represent something. Let me give an impression that I'm committed to the job that was given. He did nothing to the minister, because you see, Article 257 of our Constitution creates in our president a trust, because the natural resources, all natural resources in natural states, all minerals, are for us, the people of Ghana. And the president is just a trustee.
That's what the Constitution says.
But that's what it is. That because the Constitution we are ruled by the Constitution. You understand? And we know that one of the fundamental duties or characteristics of any trust is to create in a trustee a fiduciary. What does that mean? It means that when you are taking any decision concerning the trust property, then your first consideration ought to be to ask yourself this question: the decision I'm taking, is it in the best interest of the beneficiaries? And we are that as much as the Mining Act talks about the minister really is like the agent of the president. So if you, the trustee, the minister is not a trustee, is the president, you are the trustee. The minister is flouting your clear orders, putting you in the place, a position of breach of the terms of your trust. Then there is an obligation on you to sack the minister and we ask for his what's it called, for him to be investigated and probably what's it called, prosecuted. The president slept. And then just 2 or 3 days after, you come with this sham of an ally that essentially gave the president power then to even allow mining in the forest reserves. My biggest disappointment as a Ghanaian is that we failed as a people to impeach the president, to send a signal loud and clear that when we give our powers to you and we use those powers to pursue an agenda which is contrary to the interest of the people, then we will sack you as president. Because when you read the Levanthian, when you read the social contract, the basis for why we have governments of this nature, one principle is clear, that where in that social contract you refuse to do the purpose, or you depart from the purpose for which we gave you, or which and appeals a social contract, then you lose the legitimacy to continue to govern. So when we did that, when the what's called organized labor did their
threatened boycott.
It was so disappointing because one, even what they were asking for, because when you demonstrate, you ask for something. What they should have asked for was, President, step down. And I have to step down. And I'm saying all this because strangely
gone now. So
no, but strangely, I want to make this point because
at that time he was a member of the NPP.
No, you see the clock at that point. See, that's one of the lamest reasons.
A member of the NPP.
Whether I'm member of NPP, I'm not member of NPP. I'm on record and you're my host. The rules are there.
You're saying
3 months. 3 months. I'm telling you, no one is here. 3 months I was calling for the impeachment of the president. So don't come and say at that point I remember them. Guess what? Your party that has departed. I was listening to people talk about. Oh, we need to say that we need to say the NPP. When you depart, I'm coming to talk. Don't come and distract me. When you depart,
you have 3 minutes.
When you depart from your core mandate as a political party, when you deviate from your principles as a political party, then you lose any essence. You lose the right to even exist in the first place.
This is not the doing side.
Because we do politics for a reason. The split there, very, very familiar, has become very parochial also. So then, because when you read the constitution, please keep quiet. Our people are watching us. We need to debate in a very civil manner. Ghanaians are watching.
Principalities are.
Yeah, I'm coming up here. Let's listen. We need to debate in a very civil manner. Please let me learn on this one point. When you read the
what did you say about Nanado Exeter? He's gone now.
No, but principalities are taking. Listen. So now on Saturday, last week, you had members of the NPP suddenly chastising the government on the LI. That's why this background is very important. Then ask yourself, where is principle? Where is value?
Which members of the NPP did this? Chastising.
In fact, I don't know the MP for is it Wali or something. The guy who said he was going to take us to court.
Dr. Kabiru.
My brother Kabiru. Kabiru was on saying that just finishing people for repealing and they delayed. So Kabiru, so when your president even had the cockroach audacity to pass this LI in the first place, where were you? Indeed, you were in parliament, you see. And when you went, I was on City FM with another NPP guy, Dr. Is it Sheikh or Shak, the Mampusi's naive lawyer, and he was running down the government. And then I asked him, where is your principle? So when that LI was late, I came to this station with him, and he was defending the LI.
That is not the principle.
The point is that an NPP as a political party.
The NPP is gone.
I'm coming. You sponsor, but they want to give opposition, and you ought to measure the opposition with their position in the past. The point is this: when in your constitution, as the political party, you state that one of your objectives is to protect the environmental integrity of this country, and then the president you sponsored is delivering a governance that is adverse to that position, is delivering a governance that is killing our environment, is delivering a governance that has caused an ecocide. What did they say? Indeed, the reason why, please let me do this. Let me laugh. You see, the reason why the president fundamentally failed was because most of the people who were raping our environment. Those are the people who have created a situation where all of our lives were peril. Those are the people who are poisoning our river bodies with mercury, with lead, with zinc. When largely NPP people, you understand, what did they say? So what moral authority do they? Listen, Ghanaians, let's understand this. Unfortunately, we have a situation where the opposition, the biggest opposition party, lacks the fundamental moral authority to give any credible opposition. Even if they attempt any opposition, their focus is not because they love us as Ghanaians. It's just to make the land. It's to make Ghana so popular. Let me land. Please let me land on this, please. Let me land so that the government becomes so unpopular, and then listen. We at this stage we need to oppose ourselves. When you're in your house and government is not doing anything, text, put on Facebook. But you see, the good news is that the UP is here. We have the credibility, and we are going to give credible opposition. We are going to lead the charge. So we do a politics whose focus is to build a strong state, a politics whose focus is to take care of the citizens. So I'll comment his president and the NDC for repealing the LI. They were late. The government for repealing the LI. They were late, but it's better late than never. And this time we are all here. We won't allow for irresponsible opposition. Thank you.
I said. It is a very because you want to look good.
The substantive issue then, Dr. Tubuain, the substantive issue then will be to assess the government based on its strategy so far, whether it's 9 months and all that. What will be your own assessment?
Oh yes, you see, for me, so far the interventions and that level of enforcement that we have witnessed, within this year, 2025, I think is something that we need to commend. We've seen NIMOS and its operations to the extent that, in trying to deal with the menace of Galamsey, some members of NIMOS have even lost their lives. And that's something that, for me, I think that yes, the president has done well, with the fight against Galamsey. You see, for me, we don't need to probably still talk about spilled milk. The reason is this: governance is what we want, not just any form of governance, but the right governance that will bring relief to the people, that will show that yes, Ghana has gotten to that level that we want. Obviously, check the activities of the water guards, and what they've done so far. To me, some river bodies have been restored due to the activities of these water guards. Is it the blue water guards, right? They've done well. I still stand by that statement that I made to Honorable Amabua, that the president should ensure that whatever task he has given him, he will see to it that the man remains, and then carry it out to the latter. Okay. I feel that he has been one person who Amakufibua, who has shown determination, consistency, in the fight against Galamsey. And beyond that, NIMOS should equally be commended for the effort, the leadership of NIMOS and all other people. With regards to all the hindrances and all that, they still remain resolute, and they have carried on the fight. I mean, the repeal is one of the interventions, right? And I feel that the interventions, as lawyers said, I don't believe that it has been too late, because obviously there were calls previously, but coming into office and then taking all the appropriate steps, to ensure that we get to this day that it has been repealed. Obviously, what I didn't like was when the president said that he would not repeal it immediately, but he may want to deal with all other powers within, his confinement before dealing with the repeal. I didn't agree to that statement that he made anyway, but the most important thing is that finally, it has been repealed. So, once it has been repealed, that one also requires some level of commendation. Roland, you see, let us face it. UTAG was one of the forces or associations that actually, indicated that we need a repeal of the LI 2462. And for me, we still believe that even though it has been repealed, the point still remains that it cannot be done in isolation. The reason is that without any proper enforcement, of the law, we will not achieve anything better.
Okay. You come from a mining area and you constantly raise issues about us having an inherent socio-cultural resistance.
Yeah.
As a result of why is that? Why are community members aiding, conniving, willing to? Because there are instances where even 9 months personnel have been prevented from making entries or incursions into other areas. I'm asking this because particularly you've mentioned constantly why in your community you don't tend to allow that.
Yeah. So you see, the issue is that when we say that Galamsey is an economic issue, all right, this level of unemployment that we are facing, sometimes you get to certain places, and then you realize that young Igbo men are there without employment. Obviously, when they see Galamsey going on, they will probably may want to join because Charlie Sikani Burma, you see. And so, when I was living around Ahafuhidium, we didn't know of Galamsey.
Which years were those?
Oh, that is around the early 2000s. Yeah. We didn't
25
know.
years ago.
Yes. But when...
Were there Chamfans?
No.
Were Chinese around?
No.
Did they bring technology?
In fact, no. There was nothing like that. That's why I am saying that we didn't know. But times have changed, right? And since this mining company came around, and then people realized that, look, we can take opportunities of some of these things. And then people also moved from Galamsey areas into Ahafuhidium and all that. That was what actually opened the eyes of the people to some of these economic activities associated with Galamsey. Now, my point is that when people knowingly or otherwise are moving into Galamsey, and we are saying that you can do Galamsey or you can decide to stay. The point is that don't move into our forest areas, don't move into water bodies, don't destroy the land.
Okay.
I mean, the sustainable development goals, as lawyer Edudzi said, it is incumbent on every government and in fact every citizen of the land, to protect the land and to protect the forest and the water bodies. Why? Because they also sustain life. The point is that once the repeal has taken effect, all right, if any community wants to go in there, you don't have that right to go in there. Now, if you are doing it, it means that you must back out, right? but the enforcement is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you are able to enforce, it will help us. In bringing my submission to conclusion, let's look at what probably we can do apart from, the enforcement. Without monitoring, we are in trouble. Because you see, people move into water bodies and we drive them away. I mean, I think that the NAMOS boss even said it. That sometimes you move them, these people will come back. All right. So strong monitoring is very important, and it should be aided by technology. So we need a very strong investment in this area. Prosecution. I mean, I don't know what lawyer will say or the two lawyers will say, but people who are arrested, what are we doing to them? The Chinese. Now we know that the U.S. government can come and take people from Ghana, to the U.S. All right. These Chinese people, when they commit crime against Ghana, against our land, against our forests, our river bodies, what are we doing to them? All right. I think that we need to put that measure in to ensure that those who are arrested, whether you are a foreigner or a Ghanaian, we need to deal with you according to the law. One other thing that I think that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama can do, again, has to do with the governance structures of Galamsey and issues regarding corruption. All right. Because if you are not careful, we know that these people have money. These illegal miners, they have a lot of money to spend. I think that at a point in time, Namos was bribed. You remember? And then they found a very nice way of arresting the guy. Somewhere, Azodosino. No. So we need to deal with some of these things. And again, and last point, community engagement. I think last week we heard the National House of Chiefs, calling for partnership between governments and chiefs to be able to deal with Galamsey. One question that came to mind when I heard it was that is the president of the National House of Chiefs saying that some chiefs are not involved in Galamsey? And if he's aware of that, has he put in certain measures or interventions to ensure that the National House of Chiefs is able to deal with such characters? All right. Then, of course, if you have set some good examples, then, of course, we can trust what you are saying. Okay. But again, we will urge him on and his house, that he will continue to engage government, find a very nice way to partner with government to deal with Galamsey. Because one of my trusts is that, look, Galamsey, should be partnership. The fight against Galamsey should be partnership. Bringing together all stakeholders, all the people, relevant institutions and individuals who matter to deal with Galamsey.
All right. Zilis Drain in the UK is drawing my attention. He says that what you said or attributed to the president, that he wanted to assess his own power, he was relating it to the is it state of emergency?
Emergency, yeah.
Not the repeal of the airline.
Okay.
But just quickly, we want to see whether we can touch on what has been some of your own assessments of some key maybe events within the year, which for you want to highlight on before we come to a close. Maybe you can draw some conclusions from here. How do we win the fight, as you also take a look at?
Yeah, I think for me the most important thing is the commitment. For me, leadership is everything. The rest flows from that. And clearly, President Mahama, at the level of appointees, the caution is a very strict one. Yeah. And the president has warned all of us appointees that the day I will hear with credible evidence that you have anything to do with these menace, that's your end. you'll be prosecuted. And you see the president has a legacy mandate. And so it's not something you want to, as it were, play with. You can't even toy with it. And so all of us appointees are very, very cautious. That said, let me say that we took over or inherited a very tough economy. Extremely tough economy. An economy which by the time we're taken, all international rating agencies are describing it as junk, bola. Today, by the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, ably assisted by the Honorable Dr. Ato Forsen, the Governor of Bank of Ghana, his two able deputies, the work they have done in putting the economy back on sound footing. The rating agencies are beginning to revise their numbers. Inflation today has dropped to single-digit numbers. Very significant. Like one politician once said, when in doubt, observe the exchange rates. Today, the exchange rate is better. Today, as we speak, by reason of the soundness of the economy, the prices of items generally have seen reduction. I say this, and I look at the data the last time. I noticed that around this same time in 2024 or thereabouts, if you had to go to the market or to the pump, right, and I'm just reading my Joy Online.
Which date was that?
Yes, I'm just doing that. 4th December 2024. The story, Joy Business, at 5:08 p.m. Fuel prices increase. Petrol now at 15.30. Diesel going for 15.80 a liter. This is, kindly look at it and confirm for the avoidance of doubt.
Okay.
Fact check me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's your point with it?
The point I'm making is that if you look at this just a year ago, where fuel, particularly petrol, was going for 15.30, diesel doing 15.80, exactly now, they say my Joy Online, kindly read this for me.
Market leader Star Oil drops fuel prices, with petrol selling at 10.97 and diesel at 11 points.
Abba and Papa, Abba. Roland, Abba and Papa, Abba. I've just decided to use the same source, my Joy Online. I didn't want to do oranges and this, no. This is the same my Joy Online, 2024 December, 2025 December. And the numbers and the reality is like night and day. I want to say, and I want to plead with all humility to our fellow countrymen to just bear with President Mahama. He has a good heart. He wants to reset this country. And I'm very confident that with the leadership of Honorable Ato Forsen, the governor, and the sterling work my brother Sami Jemfi is doing at Gold Board, among others, I have no doubt that this economy will be put in the best. Can I say that we have resolved all the problems of Ghanaians? No. If you look at the hole, the deep pit, the valley we found ourselves, and the effort to lift this country off that valley, it is significant. And I will encourage our fellow countrymen and women to join President Mahama in this effort to reset the country. Agric is under reset. Today there's a glut of food items across the length and breadth of the country. Free SHS. Today, President Mahama's leadership has ensured that we have amended the Get Fund Act to allow for dedicated funding for free SHS. contrary to the initial campaign that President Mahama was going to cancel it. The 2026 budget has provision to finish 10 of the Agenda 111 projects. That is the kind of leadership. And I want to conclude on this. The Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways, the Honorable Governs Abuja, had put out there that under Big Push, over $5 billion worth of roads, and I reference him in quoting him, has been awarded without going for any loan in this year and the years ahead of us. That for me is very, very significant. Would you agree with me?
Gold is bringing in.
No, please, would you agree with me
I do.
that we have done this without contracting any loan? Okay, so in wrapping up, I just want to make the point that President Mohammed's focus on infrastructure, his focus on getting the economy back to make living conditions easier. Someone will say, but how do we see it translate in our life? In December 2024, you are buying a gallon of a liter of petrol at 15 or diesel at 15.80, and today you are doing it a little over 11. That's significant savings of almost 3 cedis, and this is even including the 1 cedi on every liter.
1 cedi,
even with that, look at the blessing. I say, even with that, look at the blessing to our people.
No, so the more you can do it too. So
the more you do it, the more. You know, my pay grade does not get to the point of having this conversation. So I will look at this point. So once again, I want to thank everybody
for you, especially from the Ken camp. We have the campaign ongoing. The momentum has been very. But what will be the most significant thing for you if you have to review your year at the governance, political, and then the economic level?
Let me say the economy wise, let's say they have done well with the inflation at 6.3 and the GDP at 5.5, and then the CD to dollar depreciation being approximately between 38 to 40%. It's been good. CD has appreciated. The forex reserves also soaring up with the makings of the gold board, making it look good in terms of the forex that is coming into the country. Education, let's say the budgeted allocation of 33 billion towards education, yes, I say it's good. Some of the policies that the government has brought in, the no fee stress, academic whatever.
You know now, even law students at Makola are now beneficiaries. They can go for student loan now. I just want to go back to
They are able to go for student loan?
Yes.
You see,
part 1 and part 2.
So it looks good. What my take will be on secondary education, where I think we should be looking at the curriculum. We should be looking at providing textbooks because they are not there. Student-centered education should be the order of the day. We should encourage our kids to learn so that when we go back to these exams, we'll not have the shambolic things that happened over the past few years. And then the key challenges for me is what I call the national security threats. Almost about 1.3 million Ghanaians, youth that have completed or graduated, are unemployed. And to me, it's a national security concern for me. And then that is where we also come in with the Ken campaign. Because Ken's agenda
is connected.
People need to get connected, vote for Ken.
What has been his main message?
His main message is that if you have no job, even your family will not respect you. The agenda for job creation, transforming Ghana, making Ghana look good. You see, we're bringing in a boost in the tourism sector that Why are you looking at me like that? Don't look at me like a killer.
No,
sit down.
You have the floor.
The spirit is filling him up. You see, Ken says that, listen, every district in Ghana, there can be one factory that will be planned.
One district, one factory.
It is not synonymous, not really like the one district, one factory.
We have seen it before.
We would do this. He is a man of his words. He's done it for himself. He can do that for Ghana.
No, but people are challenging his job numbers.
They don't even know what they are talking about. They are challenging their job. You see, this is somebody who has a Paco store, which has a capacity.
They say he has not done 7,000 jobs as he claimed.
I've heard your people. They would say that because they have not even created a single job for anybody. When they found themselves in the position,
I say he created NAPCO.
NAPCO was for Ghana, not his cousin. You see, he just wants to push me there. I'm not going there.
Let's don't go there.
Answer my question and let's go.
You see, so for him, the agenda for job creation, for him, he thinks that it is time for Ghana to be out there to ensure that everything that we want. Roland, don't do this. You see, for Ken and his campaign team, what we understand is that he is coming in, one, with discipline, two, to help put Ghana on a pedestal where there will be economic boom for us by not exporting raw material but adding value to our raw material base. Tourism will be a catalyst where Ghana will make a lot of money. If you look at countries like Egypt and all that, they make a lot of money through tourism. And then Ken says that we can do same here in Ghana. If you look at our agriculture sector, he says, I will use the 5 northern regions as a food basket for the whole of West Africa. We would help mechanize agriculture. We will boost production of our food staples and make sure that Ghanaians enjoy. And then he tells us that, listen, whether we like it or yes, Ghana has what it takes to lead Africa. Ghana has what it takes to be the shining star of Africa all over again. We started it faded over along the line, but then good things are looking good now, and then he will come and then build Ghana to that level.
You want me to do a comparative?
So what has been memorable for you on the socio-economic governance arena in our country over the year?
I think the most significant thing for me was everything else, socio-economic, economics, all those things flew from one thing: leadership. Up until 6th January 2025, we were like a headless chicken, a country without a leader. Our leader has slept. Our leader was following his personal agenda. So we didn't have leadership, and because of that, the economy was in coma. People had lost faith in the economy of Ghana. People had lost faith in the ability of political leadership to pursue an agenda that was to our interest. Because of that, our environment was gone. We had rivers which had been poisoned by mercury, by cyanide, by zinc. Society was on its knees. The outlook was more of one of despair than hope, and people were questioning whether or not indeed democracy was for us, as per the terms of the Afro-Barometer report. We had food insecurity issues. We had a system where, because of lack of leadership, bodies that were created to be the vanguards of this democracy, like the EC, like the courts, had been so tainted that we were wondering whether or not the purpose for which we took upon ourselves constitutional democracy, whether or not it could even be pursued. And my brother here, Ryan, is talking about Ghana being the Black Star of Africa. Black Star of Africa. Black Star of Africa. On 6th January,
it will be reignited.
On 6th January, by 6th January 2024, we had lost that.
Oh, wow.
When you had a president who was doing a concern to the US about a fellow African country, Burkina Faso, against the correct terms of international policy, where Ghana, that historically was best friends with Guinea and Mali, was leading the charge, had led the charge that caused Guinea and Mali to leave the Committee of the West African Nations. That was the position we were in as of 6th January 2024. Like Ghana, which historically was leading the charge for African unity, had a leader who had joined a cabal that was tearing apart ECOWAS. That was the situation we were in 6th January 2025. Today we have 2025. 6th January 2025. 6th January 2025. 6th January 2025. Ronaldo was president of Ghana.
Okay.
Now we have leadership. Now we have leadership, and as a result of that, the economy is being roused. We have leadership, so the faith the people had in political leadership is being restored. We have leadership, and Ghana is once again taking its position as a leader in West Africa. We see advances being made to the Sahel regions. Last week, we saw a combination of all that in Anabal and Chamantin leading the charge for true African unity, and we can do all that because we have a leader now. That's the most significant thing that's happened.
President Mahama would be having a fruitful conversation with
President Mahama
on promoting the African agenda.
President Mahama has no choice than to follow in the steps of Professor Tamils. Absolutely. Who tasked Alan to do ACFTA, and now we have Alan created a common market for us. President Mahama is a rep at that program. Honorable
even though at the time it was NPP.
Because when you're doing politics, it shouldn't matter whether you are NPP or
Roland, you don't know that the NDC development is our goal. You don't know.
So what's our development freedom? United Party,
No, we Ghana first.
Okay, Ghana first. Development.
And I've told you on countless occasions, MPP, say you do mutana, it's a nini. Now, kofa kwa dakitwa kurabani yenye political analysis MPP for the propaganda because MPP for the know very well see baby Edudzi so mo amfa propaganda no mo ni ambedi no mo ampushi for fake news see Mahama etete wo party no. And then I came across some video be and went to me. Can see Nubi Sebi Edit Rajon Dramani Mahama Brana ye betwaba Mami Lodina na unyamba campaign sin nimu na said na wuntumi afa ho no di kan sem etia ye Rajon Mahama ena mibisa me ho se enti wuntumi kan sem we na ena up to na wuntumi endam ena omo egusu paacho na case na ekoso no eze bi omu di case ni nko. Let me tell you, enkofo patch or back door na poyando beken want to people are begging, people are pleading, people are apologizing because they know they want to be a go overboard. Omu se want to make kanse munu, omu se want to make a sabebre. And the people are just begging, or more begging, and go for begging, sir. But idea was be saying when he said, Obinya the bonnet, yana ye pacho. And one thing I was maybe say, Sanko for ye no munum to a more pacho. Where were them, Brana wound to me air canning some. Where were those people, Brana wound to me make some huge allegations against Rajon Mahama and even your vice president now, Professor Jinano Pukwajan, want to be made a huge allegation. Say John Mahama, any Professor Jim Nana, our secretly marriage. So because of that, the Dina Mahama who ain't in there is no way she will come on the campaign trail. And we also say sans ma won't we can na yentro because won't me thought say obetimi having a way to win the election in Ashanti region. Nti basare dia na kese NPP for be so. And in Shiranka Yankopon says NPP for we need 2024 elections nka Ghana sabri Ghana kabutu. Nka Ghana yeden akabutu. But Yankopon ti se deseni na Yankopon se be burusi be nyado. On ti se ye ada sabanti no. And otna say I say no. Sa election we MDC for this is your turn, and I will let you be a fisher of fishermen. I was for Entisana, I don't acquire into MPP ni now continue TV so. She say minimum and kebeton your message because the Kaipa brand DC for cotton fino. They sat down for almost 1 year, getting to 2 years, and plan the policies are no more person beba Ghana for the Beijing. They plan very well. But MPP for it seems only policies. The only thing they have is propaganda. The only thing they have is what? To come and criticize this government unnecessary. Because when we buy why you see I Ghana for Gini, I'm telling you, because in the Ghana was in this kind of barrel who said dollar is stable. Or no yin near mobile ne unum kruma who say bogus be brave cash report. I'm telling you, I have one show. Ene mede me kai na nkuruma magwacha ibide na nkuruma me hu se bogesa yi kasa kasa ye kasa ye kasa keke o masa kasa ne bo adin and udin se senka no omo duties in call for man kombeti me yi sa kasa no ko bi sa the previous years no a lot of them omo kasa e airport and omo ye ne den omo bo no ocean near ya wum ni so mo kofa nso a politicians na ache mo mo na mo dia mo girlfriends na mo titi mo ko ntu na mo aye boga wo so to wo bo se na minister bi mpona eto kam se vuradi but the kind of casa enkofo yi do kuro ma because the duties has been what decreased. The duties have been what decreased. And then yama ba form okopota bibia reduce because yama eden aba form because of the dollar. The bogus in ano. I just saw you MPP ni odi MPP akatene no kwa wakana no to mo so nkasa because I didn't hear it. Okasanzo the point bekasi wona wokase nti wakana no to na o enjoy. See the kind of the kind of mood we are in now. And obi akana no to na Ghana ha bibia ko smart because they know very well say no enema ekoyi. They know very well say no things are what on its right way. Iti yenje MPP for no munye didi ti say over jeme tono yemfa mu usu kra na yeye o ensho pa Shatawale, mama Shatawale. So sana de na kwa ya busu ya kira wadwe o comment section nti gusua ekeka kobrunya de na 22nd what you say kakra yankopon de etwa afi yankopon boa na afi yomfa wontwa enwie na de wopi bia no se intimi kana next year so intimi boa na nko wani kira wadwe o comment section makra papa.